In the case of Ahmadi, since we are here, at one point when we heard about the situation of a group of people in Ahvaz where they were gathered to commemorate some, I don't know specifically, I can't recall, but we were notified and we tried to work on that case, and that's when we started to work together to see what can be done. We unfortunately, when May 2006 demonstrations in Azerbaijani region took place, we had such a difficult time even convincing Iranian human rights groups, not even political groups, Iranian human rights groups to even mention what is taking place in our region. Those of you who are from Iran, you are very familiar with this issue, but those who are not, we have such a difficult time, despite of the old torture and execution that's going on in ethnic areas. All the human rights groups from the center, they refuse to take these cases. And also the media, that most of them are funded outside the country by United States, United Kingdom, and European countries, and all of those who have Persian sections, they are also very hesitant in reflecting ethnic minorities issues. Azerbaijanis are mostly concentrated in the northwest of Iran, and sometimes they say there is no specific clear statistic of the population based on ethnic groups, but say between 25 to 30 million. And whereas the other ethnic groups, we are not able to even have a single course, even in private based classes. Even you cannot hold the class in your house. It's that bad. You will be arrested for that. There is not a single course from elementary all the way to high school, to the end of high school, that is taught in our language. There's anyone advocating for language rights is arrested, tortured, and some of them are serving prison term, like Saeed Matinpur, who is serving an 8 years prison term in Tehran for just advocating language rights. As well as other groups, we are forbidden to hold any cultural events, any festivals that is reflecting anything Azerbaijani. There's a severe economic discrimination. There's no investment. There's a high poverty, and every year Azerbaijan is being a big part of the Iranian population. Is still, most of them are migrating to Persian areas to find a job. Half of the high school students, they don't graduate, and there's basically no, at this point, that I can say that there's very low investment from central government. Racism is something that I think Arabs and Azerbaijani Turks are facing more than the other ethnic groups in Iran. In their, I don't know, in their perfect world, if Arabs didn't come and Turks didn't come to Iran, Iran would be, I don't know, maybe a civilized country, which we do not see it now. But I was in a Durban conference last year. I was invited to talk about Azerbaijanis, and at some point I didn't know that if I should just talk about Azerbaijanis, because the same sort of severe racism going on towards Arabs as well. Our prisoners that we have now in Tehran and the Azerbaijani region. They are in prison just for basic things, such as asking for implementation of constitution. As some of you know, that Iranian constitution allows for ethnic groups to have schools and education in their language, but unfortunately asking for that, you could end up in prison. Like, as I mentioned, Said Makinpur is an example of that. And then we go on and on all the way to self-determination, and definitely some groups, they are asking for independence. Anyone trying to organize anything, even cultural, ends up in prison. And student groups and women groups, as are all the rest of the Iran, they are always dealing with government for very simple issues, for holding something like this. And environmental issues is another thing is in Azerbaijan is not talked about often, because we are dealing with so many things that environmental issues are just ignored. And most of our lakes are drying out. Last year when I was working with Amnesty International here, we were talking about water diversion and to see if I'm trying to find out groups who have studied this. That is more visible in Arab areas, because this is very warm area, and then any drought shows very severely. But Azerbaijani area is mostly mountainous, and it used to be very green and very lush, but we don't know how, but somehow our lakes are drying out. We have drought in an area which used to supply most of the water to Iran. But government is up to this point is not answering any questions, and have arrested several groups who have tried to study these environmental issues. Yes, we as always, all the groups in Iran, they have labels. Ours is our students are arrested for pan-Turkism. Our activists are arrested for charges such as very vague charges, such as spreading propaganda. And while the racism is going on in media, in Iranian newspapers, in magazines, it's openly used in comedy clubs, while any smallest activism for language rights is labeled as pan-Turkism. I am going to wrap up that's by just shortly saying what we do, and as we all are in these countries that we have freedom to talk about our issues. We are free to gather and work together, and I am hoping that we will continue our attention to people to the issues that people are facing inside the country. We try to have campaigns. Recently, we had a very big campaign with Amnesty International for the journalists that I mentioned, and we try to bring media awareness. We have regular reports that you probably, if you are interested, you can go to our website, which is called ADAPP, info, and get our monthly report. We every month issue reports about the region, and I hope that all the ethnic groups, we need to work on building strong organizations, because as we always know, the ones that are from Iran, we lack both we lack both potential, capacity, resources, money, and all these things. And on top of that, we have had, especially in our case, I know that it has been mostly hit Azerbaijanis, that we had a huge brain drain, and there are a lot of individuals in government that are Azerbaijanis, and they are even ashamed to mention that they are Azerbaijanis because of the racism. But we hope that we can, by building a strong organization and cooperating, hopefully one day everybody will be free. In that country, or in their own countries, I don't know. I'm a human rights activist. I would not touch on that issue.